you know, I grew up in the 80s and it was like the era of the supermodel.
Yeah.
And I didn't have like role models of beauty and glamour I could relate to. And that's why I looked to the past and I looked to like creating. So I think like being vulnerable with people and telling them how it made me feel to wear red lipstick. I mean, everyone has their red lipstick, which could be anything. For somebody, it might be their lashes. For somebody else, it could be the way they wear their hair. It's like, I love that when people find what their thing is that gives them the courage to face the world. You know,
Yes,
it's like we
yes.
do need. I think we need these things.
Hello, hello. It's Brooke Devard,
And it's Sir John.
and you're listening to the Naked Beauty Podcast. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you're watching and experiencing the Naked Beauty Podcast. Sir John,
Yes.
today's episode, like, as two people that love beauty,
Yes.
love glamour, love history.
Yes. History. Yes, for sure. Archives.
Yes, like sitting down and talking to Dita Von Teese is a huge deal.
Oh my God. This was kind of like, for me, it was like going to the museum with your friend, but your friend happens also to be an installation, you know?
She very much is giving walking art, like the
Yes.
embodiment of art. And even just when she walked in here to this space, I was just like, she's flawless.
Yeah. She's flawless, and she's also really gentle.
Yes.
She's really gentle in her approach to everything that this means. And so when I say that, it's really nice and refreshing to see someone who is seemingly so, larger than life on stage, but also who understands how much it means to people inside in small incremental ways that moves the needle for them emotionally.
Absolutely. You all are in for such a treat for this episode. Sir John, before we get into it, how have you been? What have you been up to? How's your
Oh man.
past week been?
My past week. Past week is well. This was a holiday week, but I'm on my way to New York, on a panel, and
Oh,
then
you're flying to New York tomorrow.
flying to New York tomorrow night on a panel, and then I go to speak at another panel in the Berkshires.
Canyon Ranch.
Canyon Ranch.
We love
Shout out to
Canyon
Canyon
Ranch.
Ranch.
Yes.
You don't have them on right now, but there's been a really cool gift waiting for you. I think a pair of sparkly something.
Yes, we'll see at the end of this episode.
Okay, I know how inspired you are by Sex in the City.
Yes.
And I just also am really grateful. This is a really nice way to close. It's a really nice way to close. Not just before we go away to holiday, you're literally leaving for maternity right now.
Yes, I have a few more weeks of working before I'm officially on maternity
Okay,
leave, which will be very interesting.
Are you excited?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I love to work.
Okay. I know you do.
I love to work.
You remind me of Elaine that way.
Yes, that's something that we really share in common and we bonded with during our episode. But yeah, I love to work.
Is the
But
nursery ready?
the nursery's not ready. So that will be my work. I literally just picked up paint.
Okay.
So we're gonna like do some nesting, some relaxing.
Okay.
But this is such a great episode to
Yeah.
go into. People are really in for a treat. And I would also tell people, maybe you haven't heard of Dita Von Teese or you don't know her full story, definitely stick around for this conversation because I think it's so applicable to everyone.
Yes.
You
yes,
know?
Yes.
And we're gonna break
Male
it down.
Or female,
Male or
8 or
fe-
88.
Exactly. And we're going to break it down at the end like we always
Yeah.
do and talk about our takeaways. But I think this was really special. So let's get into it.
Let's go.
Okay. This is such a treat. Dita, welcome to Naked Beauty.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you too.
Dita in the building, guys.
I know. I feel like I have to like sit up like a bit taller and I tried to do really good old Hollywood retro glam for you
look
today.
gorgeous.
Thank you very
look
much.
So handsome and
Thank you, babe.
dapper.
I think we all got the same memo today, which is the black
Yes.
and cream is it's giving kind of like Schiaparelli vibe. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. And the red lips.
I like the neutral because I feel like it kind of puts the emphasis on your face and who you are,
Yes.
It puts your face on a pedestal, guys.
Yeah.
Even when you walked in, I was a little bit blown away. Do you get just recognized everywhere you go?
No,
Really?
I mean, it just depends like on where I am. I mean, I don't go out in like this kind of like, I call this like my 100% glam, or maybe
okay.
it's like 95 because I'm not wearing like a gown.
Yeah.
But there are varying degrees of like, and there's places I'll get recognized more than others,
Right.
Okay.
it just kind of like, obviously like things where it's more fashion and gay skewed,
Yes,
like
yes,
those
yes,
rooms,
you know
but
your
like
audience.
I can walk totally unnoticed many places, like probably a sports event.
So if this is 90, take me
No.
down to like, what does a 1520 look like?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would say 1520. I'm gonna put that like at home.
Okay.
Well, we had a Zoom call the other day and you looked phenomenal, impeccable. That would be like my 100%.
Darts.
Thanks. I had my like leftover lashes from the show the night before because I
Okay.
use this thing called Lashify, which is like
Oh,
do it
yeah.
yourself
Yes.
lash
Lashify.
extensions. I love it.
Shout out to Last.
And so I love that I can get up the next day and my lashes are still like ding ding.
Bam.
But red lipstick and a little sweep of powder, that's like my minimum. I love red lipstick. I don't put it on when I'm just at home, but I will put it on to go out for any reason, like
Right.
to do my, go lift weights. I got that red lipstick on because it just makes me feel better, it makes
And
me feel
different
more
types of
powerful.
Different reds for different occasions.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally. It's usually like a nice super matte red, like a MAC Ruby Woo old
Classic.
formula.
OG
Yeah.
right there.
That's your weightlifting red.
It's a good one because it doesn't move. It's like more powerful than a long wearing red,
Oh, wow.
And what's the red you're wearing today?
Today I'm wearing a YSL one. I wanted like a kind of darker red, like a burgundy-ish toned red. So they make good. Sometimes I like it's not a gloss. It's just a very
Lacquer.
saturated, super pigmented red, right? And
Oh.
it comes in the case. It's like a jewel box. I love
Major.
those. I love Guerlain and YSL for their like glamour packaging
Yeah.
Word.
and scent.
Yes. It
Guys.
all
The
adds
experience.
to the experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear a little bit about what you were like growing up in Michigan.
Okay.
And did you feel beautiful growing up?
No, I felt totally ugly duckling because I had like a weird thing that happened to me when I was little that always had an imprint on me. And it was like somebody, I don't know who it was anymore, but it was like a family portrait. And somebody said that I wasn't as cute as the other two. And I remember being like, I grew up in Michigan in a small town. I'm naturally a dishwater blonde,
Oh,
very ordinary looking. And I know some people will say like, no, that's not possible. I'm like, all you need to do is hang out with me on Halloween sometime when I do my,
Dina.
yes.
Yes, your regular person
My
drag.
Dina drag. Yeah, which is a very psychological experiment.
Yes,
but
we're going to
yeah.
get into that because I have so many
Okay.
questions.
Oh, God.
So small town in Michigan, how small?
About 2,000 people.
Wow.
Oh,
One
wow.
stoplight. I went back recently when I was filming my documentary, and I was like, oh, it really is small. It really is one of those tiny Michigan towns for people that are Michiganders. It's like near like Traverse City. It's very little.
One stoplight?
One stoplight,
Wow,
yeah.
guys.
Wow.
One
Yeah.
stoplight,
Very far away from the life you live now.
Yes, very. I got thrown into Orange County. My family moved out to the Orange County from
Okay.
Michigan when I was like 12.
Okay.
So I was in for like a rude awakening when I met other kids my age. I was like, whoa, I was playing with dolls. Still, I was like, I want a pink bike. And my girlfriends were like making out with boys.
Oh, man.
I couldn't believe it.
But I'm surprised to hear that you didn't feel beautiful growing up. What do you think contributed to those feelings?
I think, there was like a funny thing that I remember happening, and I don't know the details of it because when you're really like you're little and you don't really understand or remember the details of like who, but it was like a family portrait, and somebody's commented about how cute like my younger sister was and how pretty my older sister was, and I was like, what about me?
Yeah.
So it kind of like stuck with me. And then I think like, I just always felt I was a very shy little girl too. So it's compounded by that. And and I just, for me, like I didn't really realize like I didn't ever have like that, like I can be pretty too moment, until I discovered Glamour, until I was allowed to wear lipstick or, like
Blush.
it really got me like the power of Glamour really had an imprint on me.
Wow. And what age?
I'd say like maybe 13.
Yes.
It started with that. I mean, I still have a funny Polaroid picture from when I was that age, and I was sneaked some red lipstick and I put my hair in rollers, and I'm blonde at that time still. And I took a Polaroid picture of myself and I was like, I'm going to be a glamour girl. So that's when red lipstick was the first thing I discovered that was going to change my life.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Gateway drug.
Change the way I move around the world, or I felt like glamour. I keep saying the word glamour because I think like the art of creation, like self-creation
Yes.
is very, for me, rooted in growing up watching old movies with my mom. My mom liked to watch old movies. So I grew up like watching movies with Betty Grable and Carmen Miranda and like this red lipstick, red nails, like big drama. And I was sort of like, I'm going to be like that one day. And it really, it stuck with me my whole life.
Glamour is a state of mind. I mean, so that you found the transformative power of cinema as a vehicle.
And listen, it's like back then, most of those stars were so created. Like if you look at the before of, Marilyn Monroe, it's like she was pretty pinup girl, but like she was not Marilyn Monroe yet. Right. And then hair. Like Rita Hayworth, like looks so different before she had the big Hollywood makeover, right? Yeah. So I was intrigued by the idea of giving myself the same kind of like Hollywood makeover and learning how to like, paint my face and wear my, and this is like in the 90s, like early 90s when I started dressing in like vintage style and wearing my hair like in a beehive and a flip and a Louise Brooks haircut. Like I went through all of these like extreme looks because it also gave me like confidence and counteracted my shyness. And I felt like I could be like a force to be reckoned with, when I walked into a room. And I was hanging around with like a lot of club kids and drag queens early on because I was, when I was like 18 years old, I went to my first LA rave and I was very involved in that scene. So there were a lot of like club kids around me then. So I felt very free to explore with makeup and hair and clothes.
Nice.
You're bringing up such a good point about glamour versus being pretty or beauty, right?
Yeah.
Because anyone can be born beautiful, anyone can be pretty, but glamour is something that you create. And it also, I think, takes a certain level of creativity and intelligence.
Yeah. It's like, I think, I mean, it's probably risque to say, but I don't know. I've always had people who are eccentric always have a bigger impact on me. Like I'm telling you, I'm not going to say who it was or whatever, but there was this beautiful, beautiful model-y girl that I always would be like, oh, nice to meet you. And she's like, you've met me like 12 times. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I cannot retain the knowledge because I'm not looking at these defining things. It's like, I didn't say that to her, but do you know what I mean? I'm not, I have a tendency to just like notice the people who fascinate me, like then I'm like, oh my God, that person, what's their story? Why is she wearing that? Like the Isabella Blows, the Anna Piaggi's, like all of those kind of like people that wear like a defining makeup that you're going like, whoa, they chose that. And I like it. When did they choose that?
Suzanne Barsh in the 90s.
People who are unforgettable. And I don't know. I guess also it goes without saying that I'm attracted to people that I aspire to be like. And to me, what you build is more inspiring than what you're born with.
Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Like,
That's
like
so true.
anybody could be born pretty, like really. It's like, but what do you do with it? I don't know.
How do you engineer?
I find you very rarely. Why is it that you see like really like model-y beautiful girls being really eccentric too? Like to me they are when you look at like what Pat McGrath does to them on the Dior runway or something.
But day to day.
And I go, well, how could you have your makeup done like that and not want to look like that all the time?
Right.
I always feel like that. I mean, I get it. It's like high maintenance, but for me, I just love the drama and like, I like when I go out into the world and people are like, it's almost like you give them permission also to like go wild with their makeup. Like you can wear, when people compliment me on my red lipstick, I'm like, you should try it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you try it?
It's accessible
It's
to all of us.
Yeah.
We can all do this.
And you can wipe it off at the end of the day. It's not like plastic surgery or something where you're stuck with it. You can be like, I'm going to be this person today, but I'm going to actually be a natural girl tomorrow, which I do that too,
It's a feeling.
Yeah.
It's a feeling that you want to evoke, love.
Yeah.
So I think my fascination with you is that you have maintained a level of glamour and beauty so consistently for decades in a way where 99%, if not all celebrity stars we see, they're in glam, and then we see them going to the grocery store with their baseball cap and their sweatpants and their But for you, it's truly how you live your life.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I always think about, like, Diana Vreeland has this quote that's like, it's not the dress, it's the life you live in the dress. I feel like for you, it's not
Love
just the
that.
artifice. You
Mhm.
also have this like intelligence. You stand for something. You've
Yeah.
always been very outspoken about feminism. Like you have substance behind the beauty as
Mm.
well. And it all just comes together for a way that's very unique.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, again, I think it goes back to like this imprint in childhood. And there's been moments in my life where maybe I was like, oh, I'm not of the it girl of the moment. Or like sometimes people have been like, you need to change your look or whatever. And I'm like, I don't like any other look for me.
Come on now.
This is it. Like it's like I had someone tell me once, and I'm not going to say who it is, somebody very famous that I respect very much. And she was like, you need to change your hair because otherwise you're going to be compared to your young self forever. And I was like, I don't like any other hairstyle. This is my hairstyle that I've been wearing for like, I always wanted to wear when I was a kid, and
Yes.
now I'm wearing it, and I'm going to keep wearing it. And I just, yeah, I think it's really important sometimes to tell other people too, that's like, whatever it is for you, don't let someone tell
Come
you
on.
it's wrong or like it's old fashioned or it's too much makeup. Like
Own
when
it.
I see somebody walk by me, and I do,
Yep.
with like lashes out to here, I'm like, yes. Like
Yes.
I get excited for them for
Yeah.
making their choice and
Yeah.
for wearing what makes them feel good, and
Yeah.
telling, if anybody makes
Screw 'em.
fun of it, you're like, no,
Yeah.
I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, that there are people that are doing that. So I kind of like, walk the walk. I wrote a beauty book.
Yes.
I
yes.
feel like I wrote a beauty book called Your Beauty Mark, The Ultimate Guide to Eccentric Glamour.
Yes.
And I wrote that because I felt like all the beauty books were telling me how to wear tasteful,
Prescriptive.
demure makeup. And I was like, but where's the other beauty book for like painting big,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
For being badass. Yeah.
Yes.
And owning it.
Or just doing
Yes.
what I like, and it was actually hard for me at some points to write, this book, because I thought like I can't be everybody's opinion. Like,
Mm.
and my writer was like, you need to put your opinion down. And because sometimes I'll say like, oh, but what about the person that likes this? And she's like, but this is your book. And so I try to be very diplomatic. And also I give, in all of my books, I've always given a voice to other people who are
Yes.
different than me that I admire,
Absolutely.
I did bring you a copy of my book.
Yes.
Yes.
Come on.
Swear to- I
Guys, it's like
Yes.
Christmas for me right now. The ultimate beauty icon is in the building. And she has a book for us. How do you categorize your look? So how do you and not
Mhm.
even, I don't want to give you a category or a box, but
Right.
how would you define it? Or if when people are discovering you or remember you, what comes to mind usually?
I mean, I always think about like it's vintage glamour, but it's also modernized, and it's also without rules. Like
Yes.
I think, my look is like, hairstyle is more of like a late 40s. This cat eye is more of a late 50s, early 60s. And, the manicure is 30s, 40s. Like it's a combination. Like I went through periods in my life where I was definitely like, oh, I'm doing exactly 1942. I would get maniacal about like the clothes and the look and the, makeup and everything being period correct. But now I'm like a combination of all of my favorite things, all of my obsessions in one thing. So I
Love.
kind of just think it's like, it's not, it's like without rules,
Yeah.
really. And I make stuff up all the time about like
Major.
hairstyles that are inspired by the past, but that I do it my way.
You all have a shared piece of your career history
Yeah.
that I feel like needs to be discussed.
Do we? All right, tell me.
Well, Sir John, you sort of got your first experience doing makeup in the strip club.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. for sure.
Really?
Yes,
Tell me
ma'am.
about that.
Oh my God. So picture it, Sicily, Jack 1982. No. I was in New York, and I remember at the time I was Pat McGrath and Charlotte Tilbury's assistant,
Mm-hmm.
and I still needed to earn or make a bit more money. And I was also doing windows for Barney's. When you're young in New York, you do it
Nice.
all.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so a few of my friends, we got together and we started going to this place called Riviera's in Queens in Astoria.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still there?
Shout out to Rivi's on Steinway and 35th. Hi, girls. And I just remember, going there. And so we had to have everybody dress at one time,
Mhm.
like 40 to 50 girls on the floor all at the same
Mhm.
time. And it was just full on full on. Like, and just the stories. I used to have so much fun backstage behind. Actually, you know who used to visit me, come with me every night? Cassie used to come with me every single night. But what was cool is that they used to let me do the looks that I was doing for like editorial. And they
Amazing.
didn't care. They were like,
Yeah.
bleach my eyebrows lime green. I don't
Yeah.
like, they just wanted to just be involved in looks, and they did not want to be safe, which was fun. They taught me so much. They actually sent me to Milan for my first passport stamp.
Oh,
And
wow.
when I got a chance to go to do the Italian shows, they torqued me all the way to Milan.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. What about you?
I mean, I got my start in strip clubs too. I
Okay.
was working in the LA rave scene as a go-go dancer. My boyfriend was a huge rave promoter around LA. So I was like 19 years old, and my boyfriend took me to this like bikini bar strip club in Orange County. And I was kind of like, shit, these girls are making a lot of money and they're not even wearing less clothes than I do. And so I started working there as an experiment. And I remember when I auditioned, I was wearing like my corset, my stockings, my long black gloves, bra. And I had, my hair was at the time in like a bright red flip hairstyle.
Yes.
And I remember they were like, there is nobody like you here. And I don't know why you're wearing so many clothes, but because this is the era of like the slingshot bikini. This is like,
Yes.
you know, then this is like early
92,
90s.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, you know, rock and roll in
Oh,
the
yeah.
strip club. And I just thought it was so much fun. And I was the only person like me. And
Wow.
I always said, I didn't get $1 from 20 guys. I'd get a 20 from one guy.
Yes.
You know, like, and
Yes.
that was, and I loved it. I met so many lifelong friends there. I, you know, I was working during the daytime. I worked in
Nice.
makeup at the Robinson's May store, which I don't know if is even around anymore, working for Shiseido. So I kind of like worked in the daytime, then went to the strip club afterwards and worked. And I was just like
As a makeup
loving
artist in
it.
the day. And
Yeah, well,
then-
I was selling makeup, you know, so
Yeah.
I would do, here was a lot of
Same,
like
yeah.
unpacking boxes and tagging things. But I didn't actually like doing people's makeup. I
Okay.
felt really like weird being in people's space, you know? And also I was always like, you know, burning the candle at both ends. I always
Yeah.
felt like I was shaking.
Yeah. I
You
know exactly
know?
what you mean. Trust me.
Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't love being a makeup artist, but I liked selling makeup
Okay.
and I liked wearing it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you found the experience empowering.
Yeah. And, you know, I always was fascinated with the idea that, like, what is it about one thing, something that can make one person, this goes back to beauty too, what can make one person feel empowered and another feel degraded? And this is like such an important boundary,
Wow.
I think, for all people to remember is like feminism. It's like, you just it's now about, there's so many definitions of what it is to be a feminist. Like now you just have to understand that what's right for someone else is not for you. So like, you know, being like, I don't want to be a sex worker, but I support her choice to do so.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
you know, so I think the same thing about like makeup or the clothes you wear or whatever. It's like, even if I'm not choosing it for myself,
Yeah.
I'll have to, I respect you for your choice. So
You know what's wild is that I was gonna lead into that, and because I really feel like when I look at you, it's really empowering. I feel like, you know, your image, the way you can take control of your image, the way you own your identity, especially now as we look at identity and mental health, and you know, I always call it dopamine glam, or like, you know, finding things that make us feel something, or it moves the needle for us emotionally. So when I think about feminists, because you know, working in beauty, sometimes feminists or I have conversations,
Yeah.
and they don't always agree
Yeah.
with the direction that we feel is empowering. So have you ever had any instances where you come up against people who didn't have a modern take?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, for sure. I feel like, especially doing what I do in the world of striptease and pinup, it's like I've always, you know, I often have people that maybe write about me or talk about me and say what I do is anti-feminist. And I'm like, hold on. I just did a show in a room full sold out with 3,000 people. And I can tell you that more than half of those people were women, and probably the other half was the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm the hetero men that were there are the husbands and boyfriends, and they don't know where they're at because it wasn't their idea to buy the ticket. So I'm a little bit like, it's very, I don't think what I do is anti-feminist, because I think that there is a place for people to embrace their eroticism and sensuality. And, you know, I think it's important for people to see that, and for people who are interested in that to be able to see a show like that. And even like my show has always been about diversity and inclusion and try, you know, I have a platform and I like to create a show that has people in it that I think others can see, maybe someone that they want to be like or is a little bit like them, and you know, and that's with regard to everything I can. I mean, I can't make a show with, you know, 1,200 people and on the stage. I would love it if we could tick every single box, but I do my best to find the burlesque dancers and dancers who I think stand for something that I can't stand for because I'm me, you know, like I can only, I'm just do what I do, but I love finding people that if somebody has never seen a burlesque show, they're like, oh, I could be a burlesque dancer too if I wanted to be, you know. So that's important to me.
What is burlesque to the people who are new to the game, right? Who didn't live in the inspiration vault like you have, and I've always tried to pull from. What does it give?
Well, I think there's a lot of confusion about what burlesque is because there was a movie that everyone heard about that was called Burlesque, and it had zero burlesque in it. Okay. But I'll tell you what burlesque was. Burlesque was popular in the late 20s up until like the mid 40s. And it was a spin-off of like a vaudeville show, which was a variety show. And this was an American thing. And in these burlesque shows, like the comedy was kind of a little bit risque and sexual in nature. It was a working class guys entertainment. And the stars of the show were dancing girls and strip teasers. And this is where like the strip tease, the like deliberate taking clothes off to music, that's what the stars of the burlesque show were. And this is very interesting because you'd think that maybe that was like started in France, but like this idea of like taking your clothes off with intention on stage to music. This is like, we own that in this country.
America?
Yeah. Wow. Because, you know, certainly burlesque also refers to like a play, which means to poke fun at or something. So this is, you might, if you Google the definition of burlesque, you're going to get a bunch of different things. And of course, like the burlesque show began, you know, much before the American striptease burlesque show. But, you know, and originally, yes, like you had like shows in Europe that were like the girls showed their legs and their tights, but like the idea of actually taking the clothes off, like
homegrown.
Yeah, that's down the runway, which runway was invented for burlesque.
Wow.
That's like really distinctly American.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
I think it's cool, especially in this country where it's still the most forbidden. Like there's still, you know, states where, of course, there's drag shows are not allowed, but there's even before that, like, but when drag shows were allowed, you know, striptease, it was not allowed. Wow. It still isn't. I still can't go to many states. And there was actually, even in the UK, when I first went to dance in London, I was doing a big show, and they're like, yeah, everything's great in the show except for her. She's not allowed to take her clothes off in front of the audience. Then there was nudity in the show. So like nudity was allowed. You could, because nudity was allowed in the UK. Like you could stand there and be naked, like draped by a sheet. This is like even in the 30s, but you're not allowed to move and you're not allowed to take your clothes off. So they're like, and I was like, I can't take my glove off. And they're like, no, you can't remove any clothing in a seductive manner. And I thought, wow, how interesting. So I'm always kind of like up against these rules, which I think it's kind of fun to play with them and like to think like, oh, you're offended by removing the glove in a seductive way. What is that? It's about the promise of what else could happen.
Right. Tell us about your show in Vegas at the Venetian right now.
So the show in Vegas, it's my life's work all in one show. There's a lot of performers doing my signature acts that I've been doing for the last, 20 some years. And I'm performing in it, of course. And it's in a beautiful jewel box theater that's got it's like a jewelry box inside. It's so gorgeous. And I have just as many men in the show as women. And I'm very excited because I'm using these authentic Bob Mackie showgirl costumes. And this is so back in Vegas, the showgirl was a huge part of Las Vegas since it was first Sin City. It was like dancing girls, showgirls. And they used to spend so much money. I mean, this is the last great showgirl review that was ever created in Vegas. Wow. Bob Mackie did all the costumes for, and the costume budget was $4 million back in the 70s. And so there's this treasure trove of gorgeous costumes. And basically I said, hey, they closed the show down in 2016, and I said, hey, can I use those costumes in my show? And they're like, well,
Wow.
we don't know what we're going to do with it anyway. And I'm like, I have an idea. So
Original Bob Mackie.
it's beautiful. It's amazing. And I have them, I've twisted the rules.
Yes.
Like it's not just on the quintessential showgirl. I'm putting them on the show boys. There's dancers of different sizes.
Yes.
I'm breaking the rules,
Ooh.
To some showgirl purists, they don't like that at all. But, I don't care.
That's not
I
your
like
way.
breaking the rules.
Yes.
I think of Lola Falana when I think about
she's
Bob
so
Mackie
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the feathers.
Yes.
I think of Cher. All of
Cher.
those
Cher,
incredible
yes.
Cher.
Cher, Carol Burnett, though,
Yes.
I mean, Bob Mackie, he has a documentary coming out, and
Okay.
there's
Really?
been screenings around. I went to
Okay.
a screening,
Okay.
and it's so good, and
Wow.
I can't wait for them to release it. I don't know what their plan is for releasing, but it's so good, and I can't wait for people to see
Yeah.
it. But
I
anyway,
hope you get to
it's-
keep some of the stuff.
I mean, it's
Like, write it in your contract, babe.
I know. No, I'm so happy it's under the lights again, because those things in motion is like, it's one thing to see it at a museum, okay, but like seeing them move is something else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's almost like it creates its own star filter or something like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it's like you gotta rub your eyes sometimes.
Ah.
I'm dying to go. And you're on stage 4 nights a week?
4 nights a week, but I'm only there like select weekends. So Thursday
Okay.
through Sundays. Right now, I've been like, ever since I opened the show, I've been hitting it hard almost every
Yes.
week. But normally it will be like 2 weeks a month.
And so how do you get in shape physically
Good
to
question. Yes.
have the endurance to be on stage this often?
I mean, I lift weights and I do Pilates. So
You
I kind
lift?
of,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I
do.
love weightlifting.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I love Pilates, but it's also fun to work out like with, where the guys are.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
Lifting
I'm
is
like
fun.
having a hard time imagining you at the gym.
Really?
What's the outfit?
Oh, I wear my little, I have like a uniform, usually like a fitted t-shirt. I've got my like Lululemon capri black
Okay.
pants,
Okay.
high waist,
Love it.
lipstick on.
Lipstick
Lipstick
on.
on.
Always.
on.
Always, babe.
Sneakers are the challenge for me.
Okay.
Like I get like, I don't know what sneakers to buy.
Do you work out private or do you? I feel like if I ran into you
Yeah, at a
in the gym, I would freak.
I need a
So-
trainer. I need discipline. I like being told what to do. I like
Okay.
to complain a little bit like, oh, it's so hard. I like somebody who like stands over me and is like, come on, you can do it.
You got this.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah.
Private gym or
No, I like working around where people are.
Nice.
I like going to classes when I do Pilates, or I
Okay.
do a little bar method too. I love slipping in there, and
Okay.
and
I
I
love
love
bar
being around other people. And when I lift weights, though, I like to lift with people,
Yeah.
with someone like a trainer,
major.
because I don't want to. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
When it comes to weights, I feel like I don't want to get hurt, and I need to be pushed too, because otherwise I'll be like, these 3-pounders are fine.
Well, I got a question. So wellness routine, because I'm looking at you and you look so damn good,
Yes,
babe.
thank
Oh,
You look
both
really
look good.
And
I
so
need
I'm
to
just
know yours.
wondering, like, how do you keep it right internally? Is there
Mhm.
like regimen, ceremony? What do you do?
I don't know. I guess I try to keep like ladies that are much older than me in my life, so I can ask them what they do, what to
I love
do.
that.
I think like one of the best things you can do is like ask the elderly people around
Mhm.
you for advice on all
Yes.
levels of life. But let's see, the best advice I've gotten from these kind of ladies is sunscreen.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't smoke, don't drink. I mean, I still drink a little bit, but I cut down a lot. And also sleeping on my back.
Yes,
That's
my
one
mom
somebody
says
should have
this.
told me a long
Kim
time ago. If I
Kardashian
could
told
tell
us that long-
anybody,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to
Right.
like sleep like a glampire, or like you got to be like, oh,
Yes.
You said a glampire?
yeah, because and
I love it. Glampire, guys. Peep that.
Hey, Halloween's coming. Yeah, but I realized too, like, I don't mind my like crow's feet smiling wrinkles, but you know what I do mind? The ones that go this way, and you know where those come from? Squishing your face like that on the
Yes.
side. I love to sleep on my side, but
Wrinkles your chest too.
Okay.
that too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I did teach myself during the pandemic.
Okay.
I was like, I'm going to learn to sleep on my back. I got one of those bumper pillows at first, and I just kept at it because it gets real. Like, you don't believe it when you're young, but
Yeah.
then suddenly you're like, oh,
Right.
this though. And I
Right.
figured out where it was from, and I was like, oh no.
Sunscreen all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your go-to
I
sunscreen?
Okay, I think that the most important thing when it comes to sunscreen is that it's a pleasure for you to use. Like, do you like the
Yes.
scent and the
Okay.
texture? And for me, that means like something. I like the La Mer for my face because it
Yes.
feels like skincare.
Okay.
It smells good. It
Very
lasts a long
silky.
time. Yeah. So I think like that's the key because whenever I buy a sunscreen that smells a little chemically, I don't want to put it on, you know.
Sure.
So that's my my
That's a
number
good
one like
point.
face one. But there's a lot, and using the layers of like sunscreen for, you know, with your foundation and your
True.
powder and stuff like that. And I think there's lots of good ones, but that's just for me, not that it's the end all be all sunscreen. It's just that like
It works for
look
you.
for that. Look for something that you like that you're like, this is going to be fun to wear because I like it.
Yeah.
It smells good.
And
Feels
what
good.
is your prep process like before you get on stage?
Oh,
good
God, you guys.
question.
I get to the theater at like 5 o'clock
Okay.
and I go on at 9.
Yes. And you do all of your own glam,
I
right?
do.
You do your own makeup every night.
And hair.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Okay. Let's
And
go.
full body makeup. I mean,
You do
I-
everything.
yeah, I just, you know.
I need to raid your kit. Like I
Oh,
want to.
anytime.
I want to see
anytime.
your tour kit,
Mm.
and I'm gonna go beyond the archives, guys, and because I can imagine you with this big body brush. Tell me, walk us through it.
Oh
I just
my
need to know.
gosh.
Yeah, walk
Well,
us through the full prep.
I mean, I've actually in this Vegas show, I've really thought a lot about whittling down my kit
Okay.
because I've traveled with like on tour tons of stuff, and I was like, you know what? Are you using this stuff? And how much of this makeup has been sitting here for 3 years, by the way? So I've been really like whittling it down and going, yeah, it's not the stuff I actually use. It's not that much. I'm always looking for new stuff,
Right.
but I find that it's always the same things. Like I don't play with that much color. I like my like white lid with a pearly glitter over it, cut crease,
Yes.
red glitter lip, like a lot of blush,
Yes,
right?
yes. Cream or powder?
I like a powder because like with all the it just blends better when you're doing all those layers, right? I mean, I love a cream blush,
Yeah,
but
me too.
that's like at home, you know.
Yeah.
The body makeup is a lot. It's like I have a concoction that will like stand up in the soapy water of my champagne glass. So I use like a combo of like Derma Blend and Westmore Beauty and a little MAC white face and body. And it looks like dessert when I'm making it because I'm squeezing all these things. I'm mixing it. I like Coty Airspun powder, like and mixed with like a they don't make it anymore, but it was a MAC one, like a sparkle powder. And I mix all these things together with like white Ben Nye, you know, like to get the right color.
Theater.
And sometimes I go, whoa, too white, too pearly. And then I go like, oh, I think I'll go a little more peachy. So I don't know. I'm always mixing.
Do you setting spray? Do you set anything?
I do on my face.
Okay.
Like just a little bit of like glitz.
Do you have a favorite?
little bit. I'm looking for a new favorite
Okay,
if
so
you have any
I'm gonna
suggestions.
put you onto game right now.
Okay.
Game.
I need a little. I love that.
So I remember, like, was it around 2016? We did the Coachella, and like it was a moment where she takes the towel in, sort of blots, and those are white towel into the
I
crowd,
love that part.
and it was nothing. And so you know who has literally the best in the world? Krylon. So Krylon and Berlin,
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
they are like the OG of theater.
All right.
I still go to Alcone in New
Okay.
York City to grab them, but it's like
Love that.
it's not. I mean, mind you, it's not great for the ozone layer,
Mm-hmm.
the spray, the aerosol spray, but
Yeah.
it will lock in anything and it will not move.
You notice I touched my hair, which does not move because I was thinking ozone layer and all the hairspray.
What hairspray
Yeah,
do
so
you
what hairspray do you use?
I like bedhead. Like they have
Okay.
Yeah.
2 bedhead ones. One's extra hard and one's called Masterpiece. It's like a blue can. Those are my 2, and I have them like weapons. Like when it's really serious, I use the hard head, and when it's like not too serious, I use the Masterpiece.
Love.
Yeah.
And you set your hair in rollers at night?
I do. No, not at night. I set it in rollers before the show.
Okay.
Or I use rollers to get this look. I like the bounce. It's kind of, and I use a combination of hot sticks. Do you remember hot sticks from the 80s? They were kind of like, they're super 80s. In fact, my first set I bought while I was like in a thrift store, and I'm like, whoa, look at those 80s rollers.
They're
And now
heated rollers?
Yeah, they're heated and they're
Oh,
thin, and they
brilliant.
kind of like you wrap your hair and then they
I like the one
close.
you have.
So they're like a stick.
I made heatless hair rollers that I released, and
Yeah.
so many people are buying them.
Oh, really?
They're gingham. They're very
Oh,
cute.
cute.
but you can sleep in them. So they're like soft rollers,
Uh-huh.
but I just love the volume that
Oh
rollers
yeah,
give.
I always loved those pink, the pink spongy ones. I grew up. There's so many
Yes.
pictures of me as a little girl wearing those pink sponge rollers.
Yeah, it's a great way to add
Yeah.
volume.
Oh yeah.
There must be something really meditative about getting ready on
Mhm.
your own. Like you've chosen to not have anyone, you don't have a
Yeah.
makeup artist in your face,
Yeah.
you don't have,
Yeah.
you're just kind of in your zone.
I like that time alone. I like listening to whatever music I want. I like, I mean, when I'm on tour, I like having my little glass of champagne, although this show in Vegas is too serious. There's like staircases I have to walk down in that Bob Mackie outfit. There's no booze at all. Have you ever heard this, that Robert Smith of The Cure has a red lipstick on a string by the door? Did you ever hear this myth?
No.
But okay, so he, how he always wore red lipstick, and it was always a little bit messy. And so I'd heard there was a rumor that he kept the lipstick on a string, like by the door, and he just go like this before he walked out. And so I got to ask him about it. He goes, "Well, yes, it was true for a period of my life." I put in my house like a lipstick on a gold chain that's like just hanging as like a decoration in my dining room. So I can just be like, put it on real quick.
I'm obsessed with that.
But I don't really spend that much time getting ready except for a show. Like on a day-to-day basis, I got work to do, The eyeliner is only on for this podcast today, okay?
I want to talk about the Halloween costume because Halloween's around the corner, and the fact that you for Halloween dress up like a normal girl.
I hate you. I realize I shouldn't say normal girl because it's kind of, I don't want to disrespect people, but like just like a non-eccentric.
Yes.
Or the opposite of what I'm doing.
It's basically, but it's so interesting to see the photos because it's you, but it's so not you, How did you first come up with this idea of doing this?
God, I'm trying to remember how I first thought of that. I don't know. I also always analyze like what people are wearing and going, where's that trickle down from? Do you know, like, when you see like people wearing black tights and like cut off jean shorts, and you're like, what is that look? I've never, who started that? Where does that come from? Like, because I always think like everything I always wanted to wear comes from like something I saw like in a movie or a fashion magazine or a drawing, or like, oh, I want to kind of dress like that. And I'm like, where did that fashion thing? It's real street fashion, right?
Nice.
So it started as like looking at what people are wearing and be like, I should dress like her for Halloween, and also seeing people dress like me for Halloween.
Yes,
they do.
Because a lot of people dress as Dita Von Teese for
So
Halloween.
I thought, I'm going to dress like them for Halloween. But the thing is, I lose all my VIP privileges. Like, it's fun if I'm going to like,
because no one knows who you are.
If I'm going to the rave party or something. But there's like the Hollywood Halloween party. I went to one once and I was like, oh, I'm not doing this again for the Hollywood Halloween party because I couldn't even get in.
Oh man,
they were like, who is this
but
regular
people laugh. Yes, people laugh, and it's a psychological experiment. And I'll take off all my red nail polish.
Wow.
Sometimes I'll have my friend Gregory Arlt, makeup artist.
Gregory Alt, yes.
Do you know
Gregory?
Gregory? Yeah.
I love Gregory Alt.
He's a very close friend of mine. He'll do my makeup. He'll be like, I'm gonna give you the Victoria Beckham today, or like he'll do somebody like and we laugh and laugh. So because I can't be trusted to do the makeup myself,
Wow.
for Halloween even.
Yeah, he's a legend.
I really can't.
He's a legend.
He's amazing.
Gregory's great.
So he'll usually do my makeup, and then I'll buy like a wig, and sometimes it's a blonde one, sometimes it's a brown one, and it's funny. It's like funny to be a different girl, but it's a lot of work, and there's a lot of bronzer. There's a lot of bronzer involved, and the funniest, most disturbing part is when I get back and when I take off my clothes and I'm standing there naked wearing the outfit. I'm like, oh my God, it's the most disturbing part of all. There's something that it does to like the way that my body looks, even where I'm like, oh, I look really bizarre with no clothes on with this look.
Yeah,
it's weird. Yeah. But it's funny, and it's just work.
You know what you make me think about is, okay, a lot of people you were talking about street style. So street style, organic style. Can you give any like cues to someone who, okay, I don't necessarily know if I have an identifiable style. I like what I like, but how do you become 10 toes down in yourself? And like knowing, okay, this is what you should look for because it'll make you feel like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think anytime you choose something that you don't blend with everybody else, you definitely get made fun of too. And there's been many, many years I've been made fun of
Okay.
by people who don't even know me. And, you know, I always thought like, okay. One time I remember being in like Us Weekly. Remember that Fashion Police
Oh yeah.
thing?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they make
When
fun
she
of
was
me all
alive,
the
what's her
time,
name?
right?
Joan
Yes.
Joan
Rivers.
Rivers.
Which she was at my house. She's lovely.
Oh,
She's
she's
funny.
so
She
funny.
like she was fine. But they used to love to make fun of me.
Yeah.
And then one time I was in like a bad Fashion Police thing in the same outfit that I was second best dressed in French Vogue
Yeah.
for the year. And I was sort of like, okay.
Yeah.
You
That's what
don't
you
get
have
it.
to remember is
Yeah.
that like you're going to be someone's, you know, someone's going to think it's great. Someone's going to think it's the only person that needs to be okay with it is you.
Yeah.
And that goes for the girls wearing the jean shorts with the
Yes.
tights.
Yes.
You know, I don't listen to me judging you.
Yeah.
If you like it, you wear it, right? Like
Mm.
I don't know. I think you're just always going to open yourself up for you're going to get made fun of one way or another, right? Like some people always find it's their certain people's nature to like knock you down and make
So
fun of
true.
you, and you just, especially now that social media is a thing and it's like everyone gets it now. Everyone knows what it feels like to be publicly
Yeah.
like
For sport.
somebody for
Kicked at.
fun, yeah,
Yeah.
just to be mean. So yeah.
Yeah. It seems like you have specific beauty pillars, though, like your black hair, your red lip. You have the things that no matter what you're wearing or doing,
Oh, yeah.
remain
Yeah,
constant.
it's like a code.
Yes, I feel like having
I
a
have
code
my
is.
own
Dita
code,
code,
yeah.
guys. I
Yes.
like the Dita code.
But I feel like everyone can.
I like that.
Everyone can create
Yeah.
a code. You know,
Yeah.
you have a Sir John
Mhm.
code that I've
Yeah.
Well,
observed.
I lost my hair in the 90s, so I don't know. I
No,
can't.
but you
yeah,
have
yeah.
like your, you know, you've got your glasses, you've got certain things, your clean
Yeah.
shave, your the way that
Mhm.
you dress. I feel like we all can like develop our own
For sure.
codes for like
Yeah.
this is how I feel when I'm at best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it takes time
Yeah.
to find your code, right?
Yes.
Or to
True.
figure out. And I think like when you're young, it's like you play around with lots of different styles. And I think it's really wonderful to do that, to be like, I'm
Mhm.
going to be this until you figure it out. There's just a point in my life, you know,
Yeah.
where I figured it out and I was like, this is my code, you know, this is what I wear. And it's like, and I have like a bunch of clothes and even makeup that I'm like, why did I buy that? You know, it's
Right.
not my, you know, I can appreciate that on someone else. Like I can appreciate that, like, you know, certain makeup looks and clothing looks on other people, but it doesn't have to be for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And when I look at your home, I'm coming soon.
Please do.
And so I just see that we have the same affinity to like, you know, velvet sofas or like, you know, just it's
Mm.
so rich in character and
Mhm.
history, but also there you can't help but feel a sense of like serotonin flush when you
Mhm.
walk into a certain room or a certain
So
area
true.
of your garden.
Yeah.
If you had to take three things, right? Not there's no fire, but you have to own three things, and those are the
Mhm.
dopamine hits, the things that give you the most joy in your life, and run. What would they be?
Okay, because I went through all these thoughts when you were saying that, because I've been asked this question before.
Oh, yeah,
right?
have
And
you?
first
Okay.
I thought, oh, cats aside, right?
Well,
Yes.
we don't have
cats
to save the
aside,
cats.
Cats are running here.
They're
They're
fine.
running with their own stuff.
They're totally fine.
They're running with their own
yeah.
stuff.
And then I thought like, oh, is it something that I grabbed that I'm gonna sell so I can like rebuild my life? You know, is it like, you know, is it a diamond ring? Is it like
Yeah.
something that is it the jewelry and put it all, you know, supermarket sweep style? Do I put on my favorite, like, I have some amazing like important gowns from Jean-Paul Gaultier Haute Couture.
Oh,
like he
Wow.
kindly gifted me some like really
Wow.
important pieces, like or museum pieces, and in fact they've borrowed them back from me at times. So I always think like, oh, it's important that I take care of those
Man.
things. And then I have like some important like vintage pinup art from
Oh.
like the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And I think, oh, which one is the most important? I'll run out of there with the canvas on. Well, I put my favorite hat on. Can I just pile a bunch
You
of
can
clothes
pile it
on
up,
and
baby.
run out the door?
Because it makes you
I don't
feel
know.
something, or
Yeah, or I feel, you know what it is? It's like, yeah, the artwork that I have represents something for me, because when I was, you know, first like wanted to be a pinup girl in the 90s, and I'd cut out these little pictures of famous pinup paintings and put them on my wall for inspiration. And now I have some of those paintings that
wow.
inspired me, the real one. And those, like, I just
Sheesh.
go, I can't believe that I get to take care of that. Like, I'm totally aware you can't take it with you, but I
Yeah.
do think about like, who gets to have it next after me? And does it, you know, who else will feel inspired by this, or it will have meaning for them?
okay.
So it's more than just clothes or
Yeah.
jewelry or whatever. It's like, I do think about those like things that I find historically important. I have Betty Page's most famous high-heeled shoes that she wore for
Wow.
many, many, many videos and photos. And I see those as kind of like the ruby slippers. Like
Yes.
I gotta make sure those survive,
Yeah.
like that they
Whew.
end up into the right hands after me, or I'm a collector of like movie memorabilia, like
Yeah.
from the 1940s and 50s, and things that meant something, like Sid Charisse's point shoes.
That's incredible.
I love things like that. I get really like, I'm kind of like I like the energy of old things,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
that it had meaning in many people's lives before they found their way to me. So
Wow.
that kind of like
That's so beautiful, babe.
feels just, and it isn't about like, look what I have, or sitting on a mountain of like cool things. It's more of like, wow, like this is that thing that she wore in that movie.
Yeah. You're
Like,
the treasurer.
mhm,
Yeah, yes.
So picture it. You have a dinner party, dead or alive,
mhm,
dead or alive.
mhm.
I love
Who's
this question.
sitting to give me 5 people at your table, dead or alive, as far back as you can go, as far forward as you can go.
Is she hosting it at her house?
It's absolutely at her house.
Okay.
Oh my God, the pressure's on.
Or in the garden.
Okay, like I think Mae West is one of my favorite
Oh,
people, because
okay.
like,
Great
if
sense
you
of
don't
humor.
I know, if you don't know about Mae West, like made her first film at age 40. She was the biggest sex symbol and the highest paid actor, male or female, of her time. She got paid more than the studio bosses.
Wow.
She was like gangster, and she was kind of like the first one to kind of flip the script and objectify men on screen.
Yes, yes.
And she discovered movie star. She was
Mae West.
she was like somebody that I really like and fascinated by. But it's like I'd be afraid of her for sure. Do you know?
Definitely
like
very
I'd be
fiery.
like, oh
Yeah.
God, afraid. And she didn't really like women. Notoriously, like she liked some women, but she was like
a guy.
she liked
girl's
being
guy.
around all the men. So I'd say her. I think Josephine Baker is like a favorite icon of like.
Yes.
I mean, like her story is incredible, and being an honorary Parisian myself, and
Yes.
going to France to
wasn't
become
she-
known, it was like she's
Yeah.
a national treasure in
Yes,
France,
of course.
and she had to go to France
Wow.
to become like the huge entertainer she was. And I don't know how much you know about her, but she's
Oh, yeah.
just, to me, like
Yeah.
amazing.
World War II
Revolutionary.
spy.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
she
children.
the
all
12
the
children she adopted from all those
yes.
different
So
countries.
she seems like she would be fun to talk to.
Yeah.
I love Marlene Dietrich because she's so
Yes.
bizarre too, like a bizarre person. But she knew about like lighting and
Mhm.
costuming, and was
Mhm.
very like a self-created icon.
Absolutely.
But a little bit crazy. Like I just finished the book that her daughter wrote about her,
Oh,
and
wow.
it's crazy. And you
I need to check this out.
yeah, the audiobook I highly
Okay.
recommend, because
Nice.
it's like it's really long.
Okay.
The book itself, to read it, it's this thick, and I'm not exaggerating. I've had it on my bookshelf for decades and I never got through it. But once I found there was an audiobook,
Major.
but yeah, it's very like an interesting insight into like an icon of movies,
Yeah.
and
At that height.
yeah, and what it did to her child, and like her daughter was like a personal assistant, but knew how to do everything. I don't know, it's really fascinating.
damn.
I love autobiography. I like Fred Astaire.
Man. Okay.
Yeah, I like Fred Astaire. I was gonna say I love Rita Hayworth, but then I just like listened to her autobiography and I was like, whoa. No, she was
she
just
intense?
very like had a very troubled life.
Oh, I
Okay.
didn't know.
Okay. I know
Very
that.
difficult life.
Wow.
Her biography is called "If This Was Happiness." Imagine what the rest of her
Oh.
life was like, or
Wow,
that's
wow,
what
wow.
Orson Welles said about her.
Mm.
God, I don't know who else. It's like
Ah.
I didn't really prepare for. I'm trying to think of people alive now.
Okay. Us. Me, baby.
Woohoo! Yes,
Yeah,
you're both
invite-
invited.
Have Sir
You're
John at the
invited.
table. Dita, you have so much experience in lingerie, both
Mhm.
designing lingerie, wearing lingerie.
Yeah.
And I feel like lingerie is like this kind of world. It can be very intimidating.
Mhm.
How do you suggest people think about lingerie,
Mhm.
and why is it something that you love?
Oh, so I have loved lingerie since I was little. Like I used to steal things out of my mom's lingerie drawer. I was completely like, what is this stuff that women wear under the clothes, and how come no one how come I don't wear it? Like I was completely baffled as to what this secret that women had. And why didn't I get to wear it? And I used to steal I still have a black lace bra I stole from my mom when I was a kid.
Oh,
And I still have it in my possession. I was like, Mom, did you know that I have this? And it's like a Fredericks of Hollywood, like black lace bra with like the
Amazing.
nipples cut out.
Okay.
Which,
Oh,
by the
wow.
way, like the nipples cut out bra, it's not even like a sex thing. Like it was very popular in the 30s as well, so that you could still see the visible like nipple underneath
Oh,
your clothes, because it
interesting.
was like the nipple was liberated back
Oh,
then.
okay. Free the
Go
nipple.
figure.
Yeah.
Pre when they
I,
invented
I
like
need to
fiber fill bras.
I need to get one of those for breastfeeding.
Yes.
A little nipple cutout.
Well, I actually did do like years ago now, Destination Maternity asked me
Yes.
to design like
We
pretty maternity bras.
Yes. We learned about this when we were doing research for this episode.
It's so funny. And it was one of the most interesting things about that was like, of course I did it, but I had like came under fire for it a little bit. And
Yeah,
a
we
lot of women
saw.
came to my defense about it. They were like,
Yeah.
look, this isn't the bra that you wear home the first week that you have your baby. This is the bra. Some women were like, I breastfed for a year and I was
Yes.
ready for something pretty. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyway, but it was really interesting. Again, it brought me into that thought about what empowers someone, like one person's
Yep.
and what I discovered was like, oh, some people see beautiful lingerie as something that you only put on for a man
Mhm.
or for sex or seduction. And some people see it as something they do for themselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that really like reminded me of that it's different for everyone. Like my relationship with lingerie was about like this rite of passage of womanhood and femininity, because I didn't equate it with sex, because like I was in love. I loved it when I was a little girl. I was just like,
Yes.
this is so pretty. It's lace and it's,
Special.
it's special.
Yeah.
And so I've always thought of it as that,
Wow.
and my first job was working in a lingerie store.
Yes.
And then, like one of the reasons that I started becoming like a pinup girl was I wanted to be photographed in my vintage lingerie collection.
Yes.
And so I started the first like pinup website that ever existed on the web.
Wow.
And it
I
was,
never
like,
knew
when you
this.
could do just one page.
Oh,
Yes.
It
wow.
was like I was the pinup girl,
Okay.
when it was more of like a lot of Playboy models first had those membership sites. Mine was the first like vintage one. So so for me, lingerie is this like beautiful thing. You can
Yeah.
be whoever you want to be underneath your clothes, even if you're conservative and you're like, oh, but you could be wearing red lingerie underneath your clothes,
Yeah.
or electric blue or fluorescent pink. Like I love that you could be wearing a simple black dress and be wearing like something totally outrageous under your clothes.
Yes.
So I like it again for like that secret for yourself
Yes.
that maybe you'll share with someone else if they're lucky.
Yes.
A dopamine, another dopamine hit.
Right?
And
I'm
we-
starting to understand these dopamine things. Yes.
And we have to talk about your skin, because it really is. You really do have incredibly
Oh,
beautiful skin, and I know you
Thank
take
but
very
you
good.
both do
I'm not
too.
sure if you
I
can
need
see
to know
Thank
you.
Dita's
you.
skin
I
here, like
know.
up close, but baby, like seriously,
Perfect.
so well taken care of.
Yes, I was
Oh,
gonna
for
say
real.
you can tell that you pour into yourself
I mean,
and your skin.
I'm a little like no nonsense though. Like I'm
Okay.
not
Yeah,
tell
somebody
us what
who
you
gets a bunch of
use.
facials. Like
Okay.
I have not done anything except for little like Botox, and actually it's all worn off. I'm ready to go back. I was like, oh, I got like the alert. Now they'll send you an alert and they'll be like,
Will
it's
they?
been 6 months. And I was
Wow.
like, oh yeah, okay, I guess. But like I haven't done any like peels or anything like that. Like I want to, but I'm very like
Wanna strip
afraid.
your
I want to
skin.
know, I want to do my research,
Yes, good.
I
So it's a
use-
lot of at-home care.
Yeah, totally. Like
Yeah.
staying moisturized. For me, I like feeling dewy, and I
Yeah.
like feeling like I don't like feeling dry.
Okay.
So I love this brand called Retrouve. I don't know if you've heard
Yeah,
of
of
it.
course,
I
of
mean,
course.
it's
First
like,
of all, we love Retrouve,
Wow.
and Jamie has been on the
Jamie.
podcast.
Oh, she has. Oh,
Yes,
good.
Jamie
She's
Heidegger. I
so
think she's so
wonderful.
brilliant, and she also is very notoriously afraid of the sun, like,
Mhm.
and understands something. But I think her products are so beautiful.
Yeah, she's my beauty like guru. Like if I have a question,
Wow.
I'm like, what do I do?
Yes.
When I was going to Vegas, I was like, I need like a better way to dissolve all this body makeup instead of soap and water every night. She's like, oh God. And she mixed up like a special like makeup
Emulsion?
remover and I
Incredible.
slather myself in it to get all the body makeup off so I
Yes.
don't have
Story,
to.
I'm living for this
Jamie's
story.
family started Kiehl's, like her
Mhm.
great
Oh yeah, no,
grandfather. Yes, so
for sure.
she really knows
Sam
her
Fun
stuff.
And the
put me onto it.
products, that eye cream is like,
The eye
like,
concentrate.
oh
I
my
know, but you know
God.
when I recommend it to people, they're like, Brooke, the price, and I'm
I know.
I know, but it really is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you take off your makeup? Like tissue everything off cold, like a cold cream?
It depends. Like my show makeup is very like one thing, you know.
Okay.
In fact, I have to like after the show, I put on a show like a Netflix that I can be like, oh, this is gonna take some time, you know. But yeah, you know, melting it away. I love using like you know, like those like Cetaphil type cleansers, you know, all of those kinds of cleansers I think are good. I keep like one soapy one around,
Okay.
like the La Mer foaming cleanser. I like it because again, I mean, I like
You
the
double cleanse.
smell. I do,
Yeah.
yeah. And one thing I've started doing that has really helped me with like, because sometimes I'll get like those little red, you know, those little red bumps we get here sometimes.
Mhm.
I started discovering when I use those disposable like face washing cloths.
Wipes.
Because
Makeup
not makeup wipes,
No,
but like
like
they're
the-
just a cloth,
Yeah,
right?
like the Clean Skin Club cloths. Like
Yes,
you've just
it's
used them
exactly
once,
those.
yes.
Okay.
I don't know the names of them, but they're instead of a washcloth because like so much
Yes.
bacteria in the washcloth,
Can live
right?
on the washcloth.
Sure.
Yes.
So I started doing that, and I was like, "Oh, this is helping me
Yes.
with the problems."
Oh wow.
Yes, I
of
love
those
those.
little-
I have a little life hack for you. So you might want to try. This is so old school. Like this comes from the 50s. It's called albaline.
I know it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love using albaline. I
Yeah.
think it's it's just the
Uh-huh.
most beautiful way to just strip everything
Totally.
and then
Mhm.
wash.
Yeah. I love those like kind of cold cream
Old
type.
school ponds.
I know.
Yeah,
Do you think
yeah,
those will ever come back? I feel like
I-
they do.
You know what? I think
For a
that
cold
all of
cream
our
resurgence.
all of if you really think about it, all of our like LMS and all of
The cleansing balms.
The
are
cleansing
kind of
balms
playing
Yeah.
in that
are
area.
kind
Like
of
the
coming from
the
that.
ones that go from oil to
Emulsify.
emulsify.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, always take off your makeup though, right? Like I can't. Somebody was like, "Oh, do you ever like go to bed with your makeup?" I was like, "Never." I'm the person who would throw a makeup wipe on my friends if they were drunk.
Oh.
I'd like throw 10 makeup wipes on their face. Like, don't do it.
It's never good.
Just you can't
it's
sleep
never
well
good,
with
you know?
if you don't wash your face.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's your go-to fragrance?
Well, I have my own fragrances, so
Oh, I didn't know
and I'm
that.
proud to say I brought you a couple of them.
Did you?
Please
too,
tell
yeah.
us about
you?
them. Tell
So
us
I
about them.
have 4 at the moment.
Okay.
I've had other ones, but we've, you know how it is. You know,
Yeah,
like they're available in certain countries. So I have one called Scandalwood, which is
Okay.
very genderless, and it's kind of like it's very sultry, sexy. It's actually it's from a brand called Heretic, who makes beautiful candles
Oh,
too.
yeah.
One
Okay.
of my best friends makes it, and so that's like my number one that I wear all the time. And then I have 3 that I made in the last year that
wow.
that I just recently imported from Germany here.
Love.
They're all like created in France, but
What are the names?
one's called Vedette,
Okay,
which
Vedette.
is kind of like Victress,
Okay.
and Vanities.
And
So there's like a
vanities.
trio of
Love
fragrances.
the V's.
and
Come
they're-
on, V's.
What are the notes?
Yeah.
What notes do you find yourself gravitating
I
towards?
have always liked obscure fragrance. And actually, I started making my own perfume when I was dating a Frenchman, maybe like, I don't know, like 14 years ago. And I had a fragrance I always wore called Quelque Fleur,
Okay.
very old fashioned, powdery iris like fragrance, very floral. And I remember her one time on one of our first dates. He's like, "What perfume do you wear?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's called Quelque Fleur." And he's like, "My mother wore that." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh, no.
So I call up Killian Hennessy, you know, the fragrance guy, right?
Yeah.
And I go, because he's a good friend of mine. He's like, you have 2 choices. You get rid of the man or you get rid of the perfume. And I was like, whoa. He was like, you cannot wear that fragrance around him.
Oh.
If his mother wore it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Totally.
That's
So
a
that's when
little-
I started making my own first perfume. And I just always like things that feel rare and special and a little bit weird and twisted
Wow.
because I love to dive into like the history of things.
Okay.
And when I started looking at historic perfumes, it was very different than it is now, like more animalistic, more like leathers and like things that were just a little bit like more unusual than now. I'd say though, in the last several years, like we've seen all of these crazy perfumes come out that, you know, people are, you know, are more adventurous with their fragrance now. So that's kind of cool to see how it's changed, you know.
Okay.
What do you wear, both of you?
I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wear the Naked Beauty fragrance.
The Naked Beauty fragrance.
Yes, I made a
loving.
fragrance this
You
year.
did? Oh, I
Yes.
want to sniff that.
And it reminds me of like when a girl is getting dressing her guy. Like
Mhm.
it's date night for him
Mhm.
or something like that. But I love
It's
I love rose.
unisex.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
I
love
need to
rose.
send you my rose one
Yeah.
because it has Bulgarian rose in it. So
Ah,
I need to
Ooh.
send you
okay,
that
that's
one.
fab, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many nuances. There's like Turkish rose, Bulgarian rose,
Mhm.
English rose.
Mhm.
I want to hear a story about someone who you've touched through your work because I
Mm.
would imagine you have impact on people. And maybe it's even surprising to you,
Mhm.
some people that have come up to
Mm.
you and said, your work has
Yeah.
impacted me this way. Is there something that stands out to you just throughout your entire career where someone has told you what your work has meant to them?
Yeah, I get a lot of handwritten letters. I
Oh
think
wow.
my like fans know now that like they can send me a letter or they can give me a letter. Like when they come to my meet and greet after the show, I get a lot of letters,
Mm.
and I've kept everyone ever. And it's like there's a few that really stand out. And actually, one of them was written by a father about his daughter, and
Oh wow.
her daughter like is this beautiful, beautiful girl, but she wrote me too. But it was basically like she was in high school and she was trying to hide all the time, and she would have this like endless cycle where she would go to school in this like black sweatsuit and just like trying not to be seen, and then she would come home, watch TV, put the sweatshirt in the washer and dryer, and do the same thing, like repeat, just trying to disappear.
Mm.
And that she discovered my work, and that it like turned her into like someone who loves glamour and didn't want to hide, and just like I don't know.
Nice.
I mean, it's like it's a very long letter, and it's very like really. I think that's like a lot of these letters are about being given permission
Yes.
Mm.
to
Yes.
dress up, and permission to like hold your head high, and permission to like be who you want to be.
I
Amen.
love that.
And that's like I think why you know, again, like I think being I'm a burlesque dancer, it's a striptease show, but there's like a meaning behind a lot of it, you know, and the meaning is
Absolutely.
not like anything I actually anticipated.
Yeah.
I didn't like calculate what I was going to do in life. I was just like being myself and doing what empowered me and made me feel good, and with what I could do in life.
Yes. Yes.
And when I wrote my first book, I talked about why I was inspired by vintage glamour and striptease and all of this stuff. And that was the first time that I suddenly had people saying, this means a lot to me and it resonates with me.
Wow.
And
Mm.
I think if I hadn't written that book, I don't think I would be where I am now,
Mm.
because I needed to like talk about why.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I grew up in the 80s, and it was like the era of the supermodel, and
Yeah.
I didn't have like role models of beauty and glamour I could relate to, and that's why I looked to the past and I looked to like creating.
Yes.
Mm.
And
Ooh.
so I think like being vulnerable with people and telling them how it made me feel to wear red lipstick. I mean, everyone has their red lipstick, which could be anything. For somebody, it might be their lashes. For somebody else, it could be the way they wear their hair. It's like, I love that when people find what their thing is that gives them the courage to face the world. You know,
Yes.
it's like we
Yes.
do need. I think we need these things.
So true.
I know it's not important to everyone. I know there's way more important things in the world at sometimes, but it's just like the little things like that you can control, and you can,
It starts with us.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It's absolutely important.
Wow.
Should we move to our final question?
No, I hate to.
I
hate
know,
to.
I know.
It's
But we love
I'm so
asking
sad.
because it's so interesting to hear how everyone answers this, which is, when do you feel most beautiful?
Ooh, I know. I want to give you like I want to give you like a less predictable answer, but when that like spotlight hits and I've got like
Bam.
all of it on, and it's like the thing I created, the persona I created on stage, and the rhinestones and the feathers and the spotlight, and like I am like feel confident, like I'm in my space, I'm on the stage that I created,
Yes.
the scene, the lighting, the fantasy, and all of that stuff. I feel like and it's
Yes.
fun, and it's like I just think, you know, look over that giant like rhinestone martini glass, and I'm like, it's funny, you know, like it's all like really funny and like frivolous, but like in a really fun way.
Yeah.
And for me, like being like being 100% power in like what I created, and I'm making a living doing it.
Yes.
Wow, I feel
Mhm.
good. I
Amen.
mean, but I could give you the other side and be like, oh, when I have no makeup on and I'm hugging a tree, like I could tell you that too, like, but there's something about being like your creation in your full 100%
Yeah.
power. And I'm sure you probably feel that in like what you do when you're just like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes.
I
Ah,
it just makes me feel like good about what I'm like, that I'm doing something fun that I love.
wow.
That and that feeling of like, I can't believe I'm here and I can't believe I get to do this,
Yeah.
because it's never in a million years would I have believed my young self if I said I was going to
Mm.
be doing this to this extent and to this like volume.
Magnitude.
It feels like really like,
Ah.
shocking to me.
Ooh.
Incredible.
It couldn't be a better person. Like, listen,
Yes,
I
this
lo-
was such a treat.
it was such a treat. And what's so amazing about you as a human is the fact that what I see comes from you is healing in some way. I don't know if you consider yourself a healer, but you heal a lot of people and allow them to hold space and create space for themselves, which is so powerful and impactful.
I mean, I think my first thought was like, I'm healing myself, because it was like, how am I going to not be, how am I going to find my confidence? How do I find my voice? How do I overcome things that make me afraid or shy? And how to like making a living like so, but if that can rub off on other people, then and they can be like, I can live my life the fullest. Cause like, I feel I didn't have any like modern role models that were, the last time there was a world famous stripper in the world, it was Gypsy Rose Lee. It was a long time ago. Or, Lily St. Cyr, and, is a very long time ago. And so I didn't think it was possible. So if I can somehow make people go like,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a living doing something like that too,
Yes.
or they can see an example. I think that's like, that means a lot to me.
Yes. Amazing. Thank you so much for
Oh,
sharing with us.
thank
This has
you.
been
Thank you, Dita.
incredible.
You
Oh
means
my
a
God.
lot to be here, to be invited by you both. Thank you.
This is one of our last shows together.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And you told me that you have a surprise for us.
I do have a surprise for both
So
of
I'm
you guys.
eager to see.
Our friends over at Manolo Blahnik, guys. Shout out to Manolo Blahnik. And I just wanted to give you guys some eye candy. And boom.
Sparkly.
Oh my goodness. Ooh.
Wow.
I mean, what can we all be served shoes on the silver platter?
Only Sir John would treat the women to beautiful Manolos, and these are the classics.
So pretty.
All right, so that was our incredible conversation with Dita.
It could not have. I feel really full right now.
Yes, very
creatively.
fed. Yes,
and like I'm smiling from feeling inspired. I'm inspired by this woman who understands the assignment.
yes.
Understands the assignment. What is the assignment?
I think the assignment is one. I think about all of the things that you get into when you're young. Like I think about even me, like being obsessed with Josephine Baker when I was young, her talking about watching old movies, like all of the things that like make you kind of like weird and freakish or like you're into when you're young are the things that make you interesting as you get
So
older.
true.
And like you
So true.
hold on to those things,
Yeah.
It was so interesting to hear her talk about watching old movies and being inspired by like Louise Brooks's haircut or just like these 50s musicals, how that inspired her style. It's like so much. And maybe it's also just being a mom. I realize now like how much your childhood
Yeah.
shapes
Oh,
your
yeah.
whole, were there
Yeah.
things you looked at when
Oh
you
my
were
God.
young, like magazines and that just shaped who you are today?
Babe, I was obsessed with the world that Gianni Versace created. And I was obsessed with the supermodels. I was obsessed with, for me, it was seeing Naomi Campbell opening and closing shows, walking around and seeing her on the billboards, and also seeing her and Tyson Beckford on the polo and the Ralph Lauren campaigns. What's so wild in terms of representation. And then she was my first client,
Right,
Yeah.
right. There's so much like power in the things that you're interested in when you're first forming your identity. So I loved hearing that from her.
Yeah, yeah. And then also what she was speaking to for me from a mental health standpoint, it also was really healing. And so I'm like, what you're doing by sometimes you don't need permission to be yourself, but a reminder is key at times.
Yes.
And so she comes along as this perfect, muse or reminder for us to be full or be 10 toes down in who we know ourselves or want ourselves to be, which is
Yes.
really compelling.
and take up space.
Take up space.
You
Yes.
know, take up space, be who you are. It doesn't matter if people don't understand it. And I think this idea about creating your image is something that we all have access to. We can all create like a character, a persona for ourselves. We
Yeah.
can all, it's not about having a certain amount of money or a budget or, she said she was from a small 2,000 person town in
Yeah.
Michigan.
One stoplight.
Right.
One stoplight, guys.
She created her image. She created her career. She created her life based on what she wanted.
Yeah.
And that's so empowering to understand that we can all do
Yeah.
that.
To be honest, even as someone who works in the business of I guess you would consider me an image maker of sorts.
Yes. Yeah.
I did not necessarily know or feel the ability to create myself in the same way. I saw, okay, so I'm sitting here, I'm listening, and when you're asking the question, I know I have style, but what's bigger than style is just a starting point
Yes.
of identity, I guess,
Yes.
right?
I feel so much more inspired from this conversation to be more eccentric.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like just like do weirder things, like try out, like take bigger risks with beauty looks. Like being safe just isn't interesting.
Listen, no one who's super safe is remembered, guys.
That's honestly, it's
Yeah.
so true. It's so true.
And even like if you think about what fashion is asking us to do with, we're leaving quiet luxury, everyone, some people are quintessential minimalists, and that's okay to be there because
Oh,
you
yeah.
can own that. But
But you can also be a minimalist and be eccentric in it. Like I think about Tilda Swinton. Tilda
okay, yeah.
Swinton,
Okay, come on, let's
super
go.
androgynous. Like she always looks
That's a good point.
she's super minimalist. She always looks so cool in herself, and
Yeah.
she's got the short hair and like basically like no makeup ever. But like no matter what your style is,
Yeah.
you can do it in a way that feels really unique to you.
Wow. So leaving here, I'm looking at my closet a little differently.
Yes,
I'm
love it.
going into the season with a different mindset. And then pulling forward what Law talked about a week ago
Yes.
is, you guys, put that shit on again.
Yes.
Go back into your closet. It's okay to wear things or reshop or remix,
Speaking of
reimagine.
which, we were on the Shade Room today,
We were.
which is insane.
For-
What a way to wrap up
Yeah.
these how many episodes have we done together this year? 10?
10, I think. And listen, for not something bad, no gossip either. This is for something kind of
know.
cool.
Well, for something great.
Yeah.
A podcast clip about sustainability and repeating what's in
Absolutely.
your closet and not being brainwashed by social media to think you have to wear something new every time you step out of the house.
Not at all. Not at all. And I'll listen. You know what? The thing is, I love that we always kind of coordinate. So you guys were matching. I wore cream, and I don't think that we had the memo today. But it's a feeling, it's energy. But the next time I see you, like I'll see you, like I'll be at the house or
I
whatever.
was gonna say.
But you're really about to have a baby right now.
I know.
You revealed it here on the orange couch.
I know. I
a
know.
couple months back, or a few months back. And it's happening. So I love how your maternal, is it maternal style? How do you say maternity style?
Yes.
Is really just an extension of who you are in the day to day.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. Well, I'm a little bit grateful this is our last episode together because I've been running out of ideas. I've run out of stretch fabrics. The heels, we're seated here, so I can do a high heel seated. But yeah, I'm ready to really hibernate and get ready for this baby to come.
Boom.
But
Yes.
this has been so incredible doing these episodes with you this
Thank
year.
you, my love. Well, you know what? Okay, so I'll tell you something I learned from you. You tell me something you learned from me.
Oh gosh.
So
Okay.
something I learned from you. Boom. Okay, guys. I learned from Brooke how to actually, you know how to land really well. And when I say land, I'm an ideas guy. I'm a creative. So I have a lot of shit just sort of floating, and I know what it should look like in terms of, the output of the creativity or the vision. But you know exactly how to land an idea in a way that I learned. It's a nice grace to it, So I really rock with your ability to edit yourself.
Oh, thank you very much. I would say you make everyone feel so comfortable and feel so welcome in this space. I feel like from the moment our guests arrive, whether it's the engineers being here, like I feel like you always make people feel good and at ease. You're just a people person.
Thanks,
That's why
babe.
people love talking to you. That's why I love talking to you.
Thank you. Listen,
Yes.
from your lips to God's ears, my grandmother would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. This has been such a pleasure.
It's been fun.
And thank you to all of the listeners and people that have supported. So many people have discovered Naked Beauty this year.
Yeah.
We have so many new subscribers on YouTube, so many new subscribers to the podcast. And
We hit number 1 twice.
yes,
We hit number 3 a couple of days ago.
yes.
And I think it's just fun, guys. Listen, rock steady, as Aretha says, you know what I mean? And that's it.
Yeah. And just doing it all out of like love and passion and independently and just hard
Yeah.
work and connecting with people. So
Boom.
I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us too.
All right. Thank you guys for listening.
Peace.